The number of cases has spiked, and now so have questions about this latest surge of COVID-19. We are joined now by Texas Governor Greg Abbott, live from Austin, who is here to help us answer some of those questions. Governor, first of all, thank you so much for being with us. I'd like to start with the issue.
Of course.
I'd like to start with the issue of face masks. Your reaction today to Bexar County Judge Nelson Wolf's order mandating businesses require customers and their employees to wear those masks.
Sure. Listen, I've been clear all along. First, with regard to what my executive order says concerning individuals, and that is government cannot mandate that individuals wear face masks, and the government cannot punish individuals, whether criminally or civilly, for not wearing a face mask. What my executive order says, I'm going to read it to you one short sentence so that you know. It says that nothing in this executive order precludes requiring a customer to follow additional hygiene measures when obtaining services. What that means in English is that it does provide some level of either state or local control to make sure that businesses operate in ways that are safe and that reduce the spread of COVID-19. That's what it appears that Judge Wolf is seeking to do with his executive order, which by the letter of this executive order, it does not contradict.
Let's talk about the messaging here. You know how important it is to get the message out to Texans. Yesterday in your news conference, you tried to reassure Texans saying that the hospital capacity across the state is not stressed. But then on Monday, we heard from the president of UT Health San Antonio, Dr. William Henrich, who said he's concerned and he has an urgent call out for action. How do you reconcile those messages?
I got to tell you, before I conveyed my message yesterday about the level of hospital capacity that we have and healthcare capacity that we have, I spoke to CEOs of hospitals in every region of the state, including in San Antonio. And we look at these metrics every single day. And we are prepared to escalate our efforts if needed. However, as we are talking today, there is abundant hospital capacity and medical capacity to be able to treat anybody across the state. Now, that said, maybe the concern is this, and I share this concern, and that is, do we have more people hospitalized today than last week and 2 weeks ago? The answer to that, of course, is yes. Is that something we want to see? The answer to that, of course, is no. We all want to make sure we are reducing as opposed to increasing hospitalizations, and we're all committed to achieving that goal by doing everything we can to contain the spread of COVID-19 and to reduce the number of people going to hospitals.
You talked yesterday in that press conference as well how some of this increase we're seeing could be traced back to Memorial Day gatherings. If this upward trend in cases continues, do you think that you would consider issuing another stay-at-home order or maybe even rolling back some of the reopening phases across the state?
There are other strategies that we can use before having to go that far. First, your first point, and that is that we do perceive perhaps that there was an increase in the aftermath of Memorial Day, and we look at some other events that could be a catalyst for an increase in those testing positive, and we really won't know that for sure until we get about another week or 10 days ahead to see if we do have a decline, which is exactly what we are anticipating. If that decline does not occur, if in fact cases continue to increase, we will be using other strategies. However, one of those strategies is going into effect already, and that strategy is the TABC cracking down on bars that are not following the rules that have been established. TABC already issued warnings, and now they're going to go about the process of suspending licenses of any organ or any entity that sells alcoholic beverages that's not following the rules.
How would you term your communications with Bexar County and San Antonio leaders? I mean, I know that they've sent you several letters asking for more local control when it comes to things that can and can't be done. How would you term that communication? Because it seems like when the mayor made his decision today, you came out and said, yeah, that's within the letter of the law. This seems like this communication is happening through the media and not necessarily happening in, phone calls or face-to-face meetings.
Well, it is important for you to know that I do have the opportunity to speak with both the mayor and the judge at other times, and I speak to the mayor more frequently than the judge, but we do communicate at other times, and at this particular time it played out in public, but that makes sure that you on the journalistic side and the public gets to see exactly what is happening.
And there's also the letter, speaking of communication, the letter from 8 different mayors across the state, including Mayor Ron Nierenberg here, again asking for local authority to establish jurisdiction to enforce individuals to wear masks. Your response to, again, that request?
Well, again, as it concerns individuals, my executive order remains in place and will remain in place, and that is that no individual can be punished for not wearing a mask. We encourage them to because we know it is the best safe practice. That said, the approach that has been taken by Judge Wolf is not inconsistent with my executive order. In fact, kind of going back to the language, which I will not reread, but what Judge Wolf has done has used the language in my executive order to be able to address the mask issue from a different perspective.
How tough a balancing act is this for you as governor? I mean, you want to open up the economy. You want to let people know things are safe, but we're seeing a rise in some of the COVID numbers. I mean, when you look at this balancing act, will there be a time where you maybe say, you know what, I'm going to give San Antonio certain leeway in certain areas?
Well, our goal, at least as we're focused on right now, is to make sure that we continue to strike this balance. We don't have to choose one or the other. I think that we can do both, expand the openings for the purpose of allowing people to go back to work and earn a paycheck and pay their bills and put food on the table, while at the same time being responsible to contain the spread of the coronavirus. And so to achieve that, let me just double down on what everyone needs to do, and that is to wear a face mask, to sanitize your hands, to maintain safe distancing practices. If everyone can do those 3 things, we can continue to open up, which is exactly what we need to do.
I think one of the biggest challenges among all of the challenges we have seen throughout this entire pandemic is understanding the messaging. Experts are learning as we go, leaders are learning as we go, so are we. So what do people need to realize when they see these numbers going up right now? You talked about strategies, I mean, washing your hands, wearing the mask that people need to continue to do. But how should people be treating this virus and its spread and this increase in their own homes and their daily lives right now?
Okay. Very important question. What should people realize right now? And that is, a lot of people have forgotten the fact that COVID-19 still exists in Texas. It hasn't disappeared. It still exists in Texas, in the U.S., and across the entire world. There is no medical treatment that can get rid of COVID-19. So until we have those medications, only you, your viewers, have the ability to control whether or not they contract COVID-19 or not. And so what they all need to do is they need to make a determination daily. Do they want to go out into public? And if they do, what are they going to do to make sure they do not get it? They need to wear a face mask, sanitize their hand, and keep distancing practices. If they do those 3 things, they will be able to coexist with COVID-19 until we reach that time point when we do have medication that will be able to treat it.
That seems to be a message that we can all agree on. Governor Greg Abbott, I appreciate your time live from Austin today.
Thank you, Steve.
We'll be right back.